Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1653A, and today's date is August 31st, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Globalist System is Being Taken Apart, One Piece at a Time. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we move along with this economy, and Trump and those in the background who are working to prepare the economy for this new system, they're going to become bolder and they're going to be more outspoken, because as they keep making these deals and getting rid of the globalist system, they're going to raise their voices and they're going to make deals that will benefit America. And remember, we need to get out of this central bank economy. This is not a people's economy. This is an economy that was designed, created by the central banking establishment for their benefit. You always need to keep that in mind. And what's happening right now is Trump and those behind the scenes, they are using the central bank system to enable them to build the infrastructure, create these deals, use their funny money, and use it against them. That is what is happening right now. Now, there's two sides to the economy. We have the manipulated economy, which has been going on for a very long time, because we know the Fed has been manipulating it, those in government have been manipulating it, and it's still being manipulated. Actually, the calculations for GDP, unemployment, and the rest, they really haven't changed that much. They might have continued the manipulation by manipulating them a little bit more, but they're using the same type of manipulation. And this is why you see unemployment going down. This is why you see GDP going up. And this is not the first time GDP was changed. It was changed during Obama's reign, where they went all the way back to 1929. They added in research and development into the GDP numbers to bring the GDP numbers up. And they basically recalculated everything all the way to today. And we see this has been happening for a very long time. So we have two economies. We have the manipulated economy, and then we have the people's economy. The people's economy is the real economy. This is what people are feeling every day. This is what people are looking at every day. This is what you have in your bank. This is what you have in your wallet. It's the job that you have. Do you have enough money to pay your rent, pay the mortgage? Do you have enough money to purchase a house? That's the people's economy. And when you look at the people's economy, you can see that it is breaking down. There's no way around this. Yes, you might feel great. Think about this for a second. If you owned a home and you're in your house and you had your job, so let's just make up a number here, $50,000 a year, and you bought your house at $200,000 or $300,000, and the house keeps moving up, $350,000, it appreciates, $400,000, $500,000. You feel great. On paper, you feel incredible. Everything's going your way. You still have the same $50,000 job, but you feel better because your house is appreciating. This is what the central bankers used against us. Yes, people do have the ability to benefit from it, but also people lost a lot from their homes. But they use this to psychologically convince us that the economy is doing well. When you hear out on the corporate media that the stock market's going up, people think, well, then the economy must be doing well then. If the stock market's going up, it's all psychological. So Trump right now, with those behind him, they're pushing the stock market up. People are feeling good. Trade deals are happening. He's talking about bringing back manufacturing to the United States. People are feeling good. It's psychological. But when you look at what the real economy is, you still see stores closing. You still see online sales starting to decline. You still see housing prices. They're starting to come down now. We still see the debt moving up very, very quickly, not just in the U.S., but globally. This is what's happening real time. And when you look at different indicators like sentiment index, you have the UMich, you also have the other one, which is the conference board, which is government sponsored. You can see things are definitely happening. Now, it depends on which way you look at this. If you look at the UMich, okay, this is done by surveys and things like that, you see the sentiment index has decreased to a 7-month low. Current conditions gauge fell to 110.3, the lowest since November 2016. Expectations measure decreased to 87.1. So when we look at the UMich current economic conditions indicator, it has fell to the lowest level since November 2016 because people are still losing their jobs. Toys R Us closed. Many other stores closed. People have lost their jobs. Other corporations, they are laying off. And we're seeing this in many different parts of the country. Now, if you look at the buying conditions on the UMich, you can see that people are saying, listen, home buying conditions were viewed less favorably than any time since December 2008. Vehicle buying conditions were viewed less favorably than since late 2013. Buying conditions for household durables were viewed less favorably than since late 2015. And when we look at this and we see the UMich reporting this, and we go back in time to 2008, we had the same thing happen then. If you go back to 2001, the same thing happened then. When people were looking at, do you feel like this is a good time to start purchasing? People say, no, I don't feel like it is. And that is the real people's economy. Now, of course, we have the government-sponsored conference board, and it is at 22-year highs. It's completely opposite of what the UMich is reporting right now. So we have the government telling us that everything is great, and the people saying, not so fantastic. Yes, the stock market's going up. Yes, what we're seeing through the statistical numbers, it looks great. But this is all being done on purpose. What's happening here is they're using the central bank, the deep state system against them. Because what is the mainstream media going to come out and say? Oh, no, you're faking the numbers, because how do you know this? And if they say they're faking the numbers, well, they'll say, listen, we haven't changed any of these numbers. And if we go back in time, that means Obama faked it. That means Bush faked it. That means Clinton faked it. So the mainstream media is never going to call them out on this. So they have the ability to use this against them. Now, Trump is breaking down the globalist system one piece at a time. And this has to be done before the new system is created. Earlier today, the EU trade chief said, listen, why don't we get rid of tariffs on the automobiles? And you would think that Trump would have said, absolutely, let's do it. But as a reminder, the EU's car tariff of 10% is higher than the general U.S. auto tariff of 2.5%. America imposes a 25% duty on light truck and pickups. And Trump said, it's not good enough. Why? Because their consumer habits are to buy their cars, not to buy our cars. Eliminating the tariffs on U.S. auto imports would do little for General Motors, Ford, but would lend a major boost to Germany's BMW and the rest. So we see right now he's not agreeing to what these central bank institutions want, because he knows once they get rid of the central bank, the United States and the people here need to work, we need to manufacture, we need to have good trade. We see that Bloomberg might have blatantly violated off-the-record agreement as Trump and many others were discussing Canada on the new NAFTA agreement. And Trump came out and said, wow, I made off-the-record comments to Bloomberg concerning Canada, and this powerful understanding was blatantly violated. Oh, well, just more dishonest reporting. I'm used to it. At least Canada knows where I stand. So we'll have to see how the talks go with Canada. Most likely they'll end up agreeing to something because they've already seen that Mexico agreed and Canada is not going to be left out. Now, Trump also made another announcement, and he's made this one before, where he said that if the World Trade Organization doesn't shape up, he's going to withdraw the United States from the World Trade Organization. And I think he continually says this because what is happening here, as we get rid of the globalist system, eventually we're not going to need the World Trade Organization. Remember, this is a centralized area where all trade is manipulated through. What Trump is doing and what China is actually doing right now, they're creating bilateral trades where we have trade agreements with different countries, separate and apart from the World Trade Organization. Like we had a trade deal made with Mexico. We have a trade deal with them. We have a trade deal with the UK. These two trade deals have nothing to do with each other. What the globalists were doing before, they were controlling it in a centralized location. Getting away from this, it's better to be decentralized, because if one trade deal falls through, you still have the others. And we can see there's no reason, once all this is established, what would be the purpose of the World Trade Organization? It's just another ridiculous organization that we don't need. We don't need the IMF. We don't need the BIZ. We don't need the Fed. We don't need the ECB. We don't need all these organizations that the central bankers set up. They were setting all of this up so they can usher in their one world government, their one currency, and control each and every one of the countries using TPP. Well, that all got flushed down the toilet. So now we don't need any of this. And what's happening, and what we're looking at right now, is that one piece at a time, Trump and the Patriots, they're dismantling what the globalists have built over time. Now, of course, you can't do this all at once, so it has to be one trade agreement, this deal, and start ripping it apart. And that's what we see happening right now, because what we're doing is we are preparing this economy to be self-sufficient, not dependent on a central bank, not dependent on the World Trade Organization, not dependent on the IMF, not dependent on the BIZ, not dependent on these other type of agreements. And we're going to see this completely ripped apart, and it's going to accelerate as time goes on. And we're going to go through this transition. We're going to go through bumps in the road. It's not going to be easy for everyone, because we're going to come out of the central bank system where there's a lot of debt, there's a lot of problems, credit's going to freeze up, there's going to be a lot of things going on all at once, but on the other side, things will start to even out, and things will get better, and all we have to do is get through this point in time, and if we can get through this point in time, we're going to see good days ahead of us. So this is why we've been telling everyone to prepare for this collapse of this system, or you'd like to call it a transition, because during this period of time, it might be a little difficult getting supplies. Because remember, the world has to reboot, and that is what we're going to see. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.